Hey everybody and welcome back to my channel. This week marks the first week of November and also we saw the US election. It has been a huge week. In this video today, I'd like to share with you my week trading this first week of November as well as the elections. It's been an interesting week for me. It's been a week full of emotions, full of making mistakes, full of winners and full of losers, and I'm going to share every trade that I've taken with you this week and all the lessons that I learned, which is a crucial part of the aspect of trading for me, is how to always grow and develop. So hopefully there'll be something in here that you'll be able to apply to your own trading to improve your trading skills. Personally, I found this week to be really tough. I've had a lot of personal things going on this week. I have been poorly most of the week, so I've been pretty much at home with the boys, trying to look after them, trying to look after myself, and one of the biggest things that I seem to struggle with when it comes to trading is knowing when to stop. Something I've noticed about my trading is that sometimes when I'm away from the charts, I can make a decision to not trade certain days. For example, this week, before the week started, I told myself I'm not going to trade Monday and Tuesday, and I'm going to see how the markets fare on Wednesday with the intention of maybe taking some trades later in the week. This was to avoid the huge potential market volatility that we may see from the election, to avoid falling into any poor quality trades and essentially avoid taking unnecessary losers. Did I adhere to that plan? No. As soon as the week started, I ended up taking trades on the Monday, which weren't even A quality. I traded during the election and I got caught out in that volatility, and I basically spent the week trying to claw back my losers. But I will talk to you more about it when we can look at the trades behind the story on the screens. So as always, all of the software I'll be using is linked in the description below. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you're not already part of the channel. Let's get straight to it. I'm just going to go into the history here and let's have a look at this week. You can see I've taken a lot of trades. Considering I usually only take a few trades a week, this is a lot of trades for me. And believe it or not, I'm actually really happy to just have this very small loss because, as you can see, the start of the week was pure red. I had one loser, two half losers, so that was one, another one, so that's four losers in a row. So I was down 4R to start with by the end of election day, and at that point, I was feeling really quite frustrated. I was annoyed at myself because I said I wasn't going to trade those days and ended up doing the exact thing I wanted to avoid doing. And I think a lot of this was because I wasn't well, so I wasn't in my right mind. My emotional awareness, my emotional intelligence, my discipline, all of those factors that are so important that are part of the psychological side of trading just weren't present for me this week. I had no kind of self-control, and I just went in that downward spiral. And it's, I thought I'd come out of that, but it goes to show that it's still possible. Even if you've been trading for years, you can still have those experiences. But what is crucial is how you handle those experiences, how you manage to bounce back. Do you carry on? Do you revenge trade? Do you get into an even bigger mess of losers? Or do you take a step back? And do you respond rather than react to that experience? Well, I ended up taking the Wednesday off to just process what had happened. Plus, there was a big FOMC news release, so I thought it was better to sit out Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, I decided that if I saw trading opportunities, I would trade the best I could and try to not trade my account, but just trade the markets. So on the Thursday, to begin with, I took a nice 1.5R winner. I then took a little loser. And then I took another winner as well to make up for that loser, I suppose. And then on the Friday, I took a loser. I was in this trade here twice that was ended up break even. Now that was a frustrating trade that I will share with you in a moment. It's always better to see this on the charts, I feel. Friday afternoon, I took this really nice 3R winner. As a result of this winning and losing and losing and winning, I managed to just basically finish up pretty much break even, but then with the commissions, it just put me down a little bit on the week, and I can stomach that. That's fine because I know I can make that back on a good week. So although it's technically been a red week for me this week, I'm really happy that it's just been a really small red week because it started off as a really big red week. So I've managed to practice mindful trading even though I've been poorly this week. It's okay seeing the data like this in the account, but let's have a look at some charts. I think it's always easier to see the trade in chart format. In fact, every trade I take, I screenshot. I try to annotate, but sometimes I don't always have the time. But I screenshot and save it so I can look at it later. So that's what you're looking at. That easy to do. Just a print screenshot, save it in Paint. There you go. recommend it if you don't do it already. It's really good practice to review your trades to see any weaknesses, any strengths, see where you can improve on. So here's a screenshot of the trades I took on the Monday. Now these trades are not going to be quality. Don't look at these thinking that you could copy my strategy or anything like that. I wouldn't recommend it because they're pretty poor quality. I think I was just trying to get a clever win before I knew that this big news release I could sit the week out. You can't force the markets like that. It just doesn't work. But something I did do right here on the second trade, I had 2 positions open, as you can see. But as price pushed up, we got this push past the previous daily high, the key daily level. Once we got that, I trailed a tighter stop. So I halved my stop loss, which basically meant that the trade risk was equating to 1 trade rather than 2. In the end, it didn't work out and it came crashing down, but it stopped me out. So I managed to halve my loss on that trade. That was about the only good thing I did on this day. Election day. Wow, election day. I think I was surprised at how normal the markets were considering it was election. I was trading this with the mindset that I was going to see some kind of huge movement or a big jump in the opposite direction or something different. But the market seemed pretty normal to me, technically speaking. I don't know, what do you think? Did you trade elections? Let me know in the comments below how you found it. This is what I did on election day, and it's not brilliant at all. As you can see, I took the couple of losers. I was aiming for a short here. Looking at this now, technically, we didn't even break these key structural levels. Price was just pushing up. I just felt that with the elections, we would get this huge drop off, and I guess we did, but it happened a bit higher up, so I ended up taking 2 losers on election day. Now, looking at this screenshot, I've just remembered I actually did take a trade on the Wednesday. I believe it's the Wednesday. Yeah, I've just checked the news, guys, because I got a little bit mixed up before. It was FOMC statement and the Fed funds rate on the Thursday this week. I still sat out on the Wednesday to process the losers I took Monday, Tuesday. But on the Thursday, I did take a couple of trades. Now, I actually traded the news, and I don't usually do this. In fact, it wasn't even intentional. That's how out of it in my mind I've been this week. I was looking at the charts and I saw this setup here forming, and I set the sell limit order, which got triggered beautifully because we had the news release. So we had a push up, triggered my sell, came down, and I got out. So that was a nice little scalp I took on the Thursday. And here is the last trade I took this week. This was on the Friday, my winner, which I will share with you in more detail on the charts. Before we jump onto the charts, as you can see here on forexfactory.com, which is a brilliant free resource for checking out news, on the Friday, there was only news release due for the Canadian dollar that was high impact. So that was why I was okay to take this trade. And back at my broker here, you can see that on the Friday, the 8th, I did take a few trades. I had a loser, I had 2 winners, and then my big win. And this is what happened on the Friday. Friday morning, I loaded up the charts, and this is the 15-minute for pound dollar, which is what I traded on the Friday. And this blue line here just shows the weekly open. Now, this is really important because Friday morning we opened and we were trading right below the weekly open. Now, that's quite indecisive because price has been up, price has been down, and it's back to the weekly open. So we still didn't really have a directional bias on the week, and it's Friday. That should have said a lot in itself that it wasn't the day to really push it. However, I was looking at this, looking for a trade, and because we had come up with this momentum on the previous day, the Thursday, I just really felt like we were going to continue this upward momentum. That much so that I set a buy stop order just above where price was trading, with a stop below price, and I was targeting just past the highs. In fact, I set it around about this point here. It's just before 7 o'clock in the morning, so it's just before my little boys woke up. So I did this kind of before the London session began, thinking that if the volume pushed up, it would trigger me into the trade and hopefully go on up to my target. That would be great, wouldn't it? Now, as price pushed up on this candlestick at 7, although it didn't actually tap my order here, the spread must have been a bit looser because I got triggered into this with a buy. And unfortunately, the volume came in and it just dropped down. So it went straight down to my stop. So that was trade number 1 for me on the Friday. Now, I set alerts at my stops and targets, so my alert went off. I knew I was out of the trade, and I thought, oh, that's disappointing. Now, my immediate thought was I went down to the faster time frame, the 5-minute, and my immediate thought was to sell with the momentum, right? But then I thought, well, price has already dropped. What's it dropped into? So I look over to the left, and I see that we have this nice little order block here where my previous mentor would call this a pressure cooker, where price is sort of consolidated and we've got this huge pop up. The price has fallen into there rather nicely. And if I drop my fib from the lowest part of this pullback here and drop it at the top, we can see that it's also just tapped into these three lines, three areas of optimum trade entry right here. So for me, this was two reasons, two areas of confluence to take a trade. Now, as price started pushing up here, I decided to set a buy around about this level here. I was using a 20 pip stop, so I had quite a bit of space to play with. I targeted, my usual target is 1.5R, but I targeted 2 times what I was risking. Why? Because, to be honest, I was hoping to make back those losers. Instead of trading the markets and my usual strategy, which is a smaller target, I wanted to try and make more money to make back the losers and make some money, right? And I set 2 trades. So I set one with the 2R targets, and I set one which was a much larger target, aiming for a breakout, which is very ambitious on a Friday. But hey, price came down and it triggered me into this trade, and we did get the really nice push up. And when I saw the volume coming in here, that was great. That was enough for me to just sit back. I set my alerts at these points here, and I decided to leave the trade alone. What happened? Well, like I said, I wasn't very well, and I actually had to go to the doctors around about 10:30. So I saw this play out in the morning on my phone, and I felt comfortable to leave the trade. And I went to the doctors, and while I was at the doctors, this happened. So price had pushed up, and it actually came down to my 1.5R usual target, but it didn't hit my set target here, which meant I was still in both of these trades. Now, we got this large bearish engulfing candlestick at that weekly open, which if I had seen that in real time would have been a big exit indicator for me, but I missed that. And when I came and looked at this around about lunchtime, price was already starting to drop fast, and I was really busy and distracted with the boys, so the most I could do in the moment was to just manage my risk and set a break-even stop. And what happened? Price just came down and it stopped me out. And I was really quite frustrated at this, because if I had just set both positions to get out at 1.5R, my usual target, I would have made 3R, which would have made back the loser from the morning and put me up 2 on the day. So as you can imagine, that was pretty annoying. So I decided to just forget trading. I wasn't feeling it at all. I obviously wasn't well. I never find it that easy to switch off. I really like it, and it's like a problem that needs solving, and my mind is just wired to solve it. I find it hard to switch off. How do you guys find that? Do you have anything that you can do to help you to switch off from the markets when you get into that space? Let me know in the comments below. But hey, the New York session started, and I think we got to around about 3 o'clock. Me and my boys were just chilling out. I think we had the Gruffalo on the TV, and I was looking at my phone and thought, right, let's see what the New York session's offering. So I looked back and I looked at this pattern forming. We were just swinging lower, making lower lows and lower highs. And it was evident to me that I'd been long. We'd had the big rejection of the weekly open. If we weren't going up, then we must be going down, right? Now, it was a Friday afternoon, and I thought, right, it's certainly not the time to expect big, but maybe I could get a little scalp in. So that was what I did. I looked for an entry, and I was looking purely in this New York session window that started at 1:30, and I looked at structure. So the New York session opened here. We made a low, we made a high, and we made a new low. Very simple market structure. And from that, I placed my Fibonacci retracement tool from the high to the low to give me my 3 areas of optimum trade entry. At this point, that was where I placed my sell. I used a 15 pip stop, and this time I used a 1.5R target. But I doubled up again. I used double my risk because I've been using really small risk with the 5s anyway to just add a buffer to my account, so I feel comfortable taking more risk now. And it paid off because I got triggered into this trade. Sort of thought about it a little bit. During the afternoon, it came down and it hit my target, which was very nice. So I managed to make 3R on that trade, which for me managed to put me back break even on my week, pretty much. But as you can see, it's been a really tough week for me this week, and I'm very ready for the weekend. Hopping onto my dashboard here with the prop firm, the 5%ers. So this is the account I have been trading in MetaTrader 5, the hyper growth program, for $20,000. So I'm currently trading with the $20,000, and once I manage to hit that profit target, $2,000 that I'm getting close to, then that account size will increase and I'll be able to start taking a profit from it. And as I'm getting closer to that, maybe the emotions are starting to creep in, and I need to be very aware of that. Perhaps start meditating a bit more regularly and doing other practices to help maintain my edge, my mindset when it comes to trading. I'm very happy, considering a lot of the obstacles and hurdles I've had this week, to have managed to maintain that risk level and keep the account alive, so that next week I can come back more focused with my usual plan, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more of a steady market condition as well now the elections have passed. But the thing I love about this program that's very rare compared to with a lot of other prop firms out there is the fact that they give you an unlimited amount of time to pass the program, the challenge. It's a big game changer because I shouldn't need to get emotional. It's only my own impatience now kicking in. I don't have a deadline, which is crucial. So if you're thinking about having to go the prop firm for yourself, I definitely recommend them. I've got a link below in the description, or you can check out my other video if you want some more information on the 5%ers. Meanwhile, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have, please let me know by smashing the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel below. Any questions, any comments, drop them below, and I'll catch you in my next video. Thanks. Bye.